Hi everyone, my name is Nart Hakij, and today we're going to explore a fascinating approach to building web applications called component-based web development. Specifically, I'll explain how props and state play a key role in creating dynamic and interactive applications. Component-based web development is integral to modern software engineering because it allows us to create modular, maintainable, and scalable applications. By the end of this presentation, you'll hopefully understand how this approach is used in real-world applications to achieve flexibility and reusability. In software engineering, component-based development is all about modularity and reusability. Think of a component as a self-contained building block that handles one specific part of a web application. For instance, the header, the footer, and the navigation bar on a web page could be implemented as separate reusable components. Each component contains its own HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code, making it a complete independent unit. For example, Facebook uses a component-based structure where elements like the navigation bar, friends list, and notifications are individual components. This modular setup allows developers to update or fix parts of the app without affecting the whole web page, which is a major advantage when managing complex and large-scale web applications. Now let's talk about two key concepts in component-based development, props and state. These two concepts are crucial to data management within a component-based system and help developers create responsive applications. Short for properties, props are data passed from a parent component to a child component in the component hierarchy. This makes components customizable while maintaining consistency. For example, if we refer to a post component in our earlier Facebook example, the parent component could pass in the content, the author, and timestamps as props. These values define what each post displays. State, on the other hand, is data that a component manages internally. Unlike props, state is mutable, meaning it can change over time. This is essential for interactive components, like a search bar that updates as you type. Both props and state are key in software engineering because they enable components to share data predictably while maintaining modularity. Let's focus on props first. Imagine we're building a button component. We might want to use this button throughout our app, but it needs to display different text and colors in different places. Instead of creating multiple button components, we can use props to pass in values for the label and the color of the desired button. The data passed down would be immutable, meaning it cannot be changed or altered once passed down. This way, we can reuse the same button component to create multiple customizable buttons, each displaying a different label and color. Props allow us to make components flexible and reusable without duplicating code. This makes apps easier to maintain and scale, as changes to one part won't affect others. Here we have a simplified code sample in React that helps us better understand how props is passed down from the parent component to the child component for our button example. The parent component, which is the app, passes props down to its child component, which is button in this example, in the form of a label and a color. Button then uses the props data to display the button with a desired label and color. Now let's discuss state. State is a component's internal data that can change based on user actions or other events. This changeable nature of state is crucial for interactive web applications. Let's go back to our button example and turn it into a counter. This counter component has a count state, which initially starts at 0. Each time we click the button, the count increases by 1. This dynamic behavior is all controlled by the component's state. Instagram uses state to track likes on posts. When you double tap a photo, the heart icon fills in, showing that you liked it. This interaction is managed by the state within the post component, allowing for immediate feedback without reloading the entire page. State enables Instagram's interactive and responsive user experience, keeping users engaged. Sometimes, multiple components need access to the same data. In this case, we use a technique called lifting state up. This is where we place the shared state in the closest common ancestor and pass it down as props to other components. This approach is common in software engineering because it creates a single source of truth, helping prevent data inconsistencies and keeping the code maintainable. It's a critical technique to ensure data stays organized as the application scales. It is also a crucial technique to use in an interactive web application that is constantly changing based on the user's behavior. These changes trigger a re-rendering of the web page, which is why it is important to make sure that props is updated and passed back down to the child components accordingly. This is what essentially creates an interactive and smooth user experience. Let's take a moment to pause and think. Based on the information you just learned about props, state, and lifting state up, imagine a scenario where you need to display a list of products, and each product can be liked by the user. Ask yourself, where should you manage the state of the likes? Should each product have its own state, or should you keep it in a common parent component and pass it down through props? Take a few seconds to think about how you'd structure this to make sure your code is both efficient and maintainable. If the likes data needs to be accessible or shared across multiple components, such as displaying a total like count or saving user preferences, it's better to lift the state up to a common parent component. The parent component can pass the like status down to each product as props and provide a function to update it. Let's look at a common example of props and state in a web application, a shopping cart. In a component-based structure, the cart component, which is the parent, stores an array of items as its state. Each item could be passed as a prop to a cart item component or the child component, which displays the product name, the quantity, and price. When a user updates the quantity, the cart component updates its state, and this new value is passed down to each cart item as a prop. This approach is common in e-commerce websites. Managing cart data in a central state helps ensure a consistent user experience as users add, update, or remove items, allowing for easy updates and data flow across components. To summarize, component-based web development is an essential technique in software engineering for building scalable and maintainable applications. By organizing code into reusable components, we make it easier to maintain, manage, and scale our applications over time. As we talked about previously, props allows data to be passed down from parent to child, enabling customization and reusability. State enables components to track changes, creating interactivity. Together, these concepts support modularity, reusability, and maintainability in web applications. Whether it's Instagram's likes or an e-commerce shopping cart, these principles enable developers to create fast, dynamic, and responsive user experiences. For instance, on a dashboard like LinkedIn, each component such as notifications or messages may use props to receive data from a central source, like the server, while also managing its own state for interactivity, like marking messages as read. This setup keeps data organized and predictable across the app. Understanding state and props is essential for building interactive, component-based applications that are both user-friendly and easy to maintain. These concepts are foundational in modern software engineering, especially with web application frameworks like React, Vue, and Angular. Thank you very much for watching.